A controversial military parade is set to take place in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. The event will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the creation of the U.S. Army. It also falls on President Trump's birthday. The parade will feature thousands of soldiers, 100 aircraft, rows of tanks, parachute jumps, and flyovers. Trump is expected to watch from a VIP viewing box on the ellipse just south of the White House. Joining us to discuss, Alex Gangitano, White House reporter here at The Hill. So, Alex, security obviously a serious concern for this event. There is new turmoil in the Middle East. Protests are planned across the country this weekend. Is the White House confident this parade will go over smoothly?
Yeah, the White House is excited about this parade on Saturday and hopeful that things go smoothly. The president is expected to deliver remarks, but there's definitely a security, noticeable security parameters taking place even here outside the White House. The big fence that goes up for some special events when large crowds are expected is now around the White House. And we know that the president is staying in town today, tomorrow morning, to make his remarks tomorrow evening at the parade and get to watch some of that. So I know they're eager for this to happen. This has been in the works for so long, something that, they've had to defend the price tag of and whatever else. So they definitely have been ready for this parade to actually take place.
There are thousands of these No Kings protests around the country that are planned for tomorrow. I know that the event organizers have said that they will not be organizing an event in D.C. proper, but in some surrounding areas. Trump says any protesters in D.C. will be met with a very heavy force. Does that even apply to people that are demonstrating peacefully? Are there actually going to be any counter demonstrations happening in D.C. on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's definitely notable that the No Kings protest organizers are not planning one in D.C. Of course, there'll be a lot of security and whatnot around here, a lot of streets shut down. But that was actually a point of contention that came up in the White House press briefing earlier this week. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked about the president's comments saying protesters around this parade will be met with force. That was also, of course, during the LA protests about Trump's immigration policy. And she was asked, does he support, though, peaceful protests? And she basically said, of course he does, and said that it was a stupid question to even be asking that. So some interesting, fireworks that happened in the press briefing over just that question, because his statement was vague. He said protesters will be met with force. Meanwhile, that left a lot of questions over what about just peaceful protesters?
Something that could actually disrupt this parade on Saturday is the weather. The forecast is looking a little bit dicey. Is there a chance this whole thing could be washed out by storms?
Yeah, again, I think they're optimistic about this, but there is dicey weather here. I mean, it's a hot one in D.C. today. Tomorrow, the storms are supposed to pick up right about when this parade and Trump's speech are happening. So I think right now everyone's just trying to forge ahead and see how this weather plays out. But, here D.C. summers can be tricky when it's so hot, and then we have these evening storms. So tough timing here in June, but I think people are staying optimistic at this point.
Literal rain on the parade. Is the military still putting the cost at around 25 to 45 million? That seems like a pretty big discrepancy. What's all that money going to?
Yeah, tens of millions of dollars here being spent on that. That's between, getting all the equipment here, the military members that are on the ground here. We know they're actually staying in some federal buildings for housing. Just the cost of putting all of this on with security and whatever else. So it has a hefty price tag. And that's one of the main criticisms we're hearing, even from Republican senators. Senator Rand Paul actually told reporters earlier this week that he doesn't think that this is worth the cost just to show off our military. So some budget fiscal hawks are concerned about this. Some Democrats, of course, are criticizing the president for this. But that price tag is really the sticking point here of, this White House has said they're so focused on cutting costs. We saw the DOJ spending cuts going through federal agencies, and now they're spending tens of millions of dollars on this parade.
You also understand a big chunk of that money is going to go to repairing roads that are going to be destroyed by all this heavy machinery. But yeah, no, this will be an interesting weekend. We'll be sure to keep following it. Thank you, Alex, from your reporting from the White House. As always, Alex Gangitano. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Drew.